Hello all my YouTube friends. So I get a lot of questions about soil for microgreens, and it's really not complicated. I think a lot of people overthink it. People think that you need maybe a certain amount of nutrients in your soil, and that's really, for the most case, not true. For microgreens, most of your nutrients are actually contained within the seed. And because most microgreens are being grown only for 10 to 14 days, you really don't need any extra nutrients in your soil. Some things do though. Certain things like maybe amaranth, that grows a little bit longer, or if you have maybe a mustard or something that grows long term, maybe you'll need some nutrients, but I really haven't found that to be the case. So anyways, I ran out of the soil that I had been using, which was a sunshine mix, I think number 4. It's a deal I got, so I bought a whole bunch of these small bales, and just recently ran out. It had a ton of perlite in it. It was a really fluffy soil once I got done screening it, which I'm going to screen some stuff for you right now. And what I found the most important thing for a soil for microgreens is that it's light, fluffy, has some good drainage, is maybe a lot of perlite is helpful in what I'm going to make today. Won't be a lot of perlite. Typically I don't make my own soils, and this is something I've never tried, so I'm going to show you something I've never done. We'll see how that goes. Time to pull up the sleeves and get on with it. So anyways, I was at my my local hydroponics shop today. I was going to a nursery I normally would go to, but they actually had been sold and were going through some renovations and were not open. And normally I buy soil from them because that's really their business. They're a soil-based company. They're not really into hydroponics. But my friends down at the Ingrown Gardens in West Lebanon, New Hampshire, they also do sell soil, even though they're mostly a hydroponic shop. So I went down there and I looked at some of the stuff they have, and I came up with an idea of what I'd like to mix. So I have this Sun Grow Black Gold, and I've got, this is what's going to be a little bit different, I have this Cocoa Core, and it's already, you know, fluffy and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix those two bags. Can't remember exactly how big each one was. The black gold is 2 cubic feet, and the Cocoa Core is 1.75 cubic feet. So this is basically going to be a 50-50 mix. Let's get going. I like to screen all my soils, even though this is already really a nice broken down soil. And there's a good amount of perlite in this, so that's good. I've used black gold before, just straight up. But I've never used it after reducing it down with some Cocoa Core, so we'll see how that goes. So I'm just going to kind of switch back and forth, do a little bit of this, and then a little bit of the Cocoa Core. This is a screen mesh I put in this this frame I made out of just 2x4. It's about, I think it's about a 1/4 inch mesh. Takes a little bit of work to get it through. I think 1/4 inch is smaller than what you would want to use ideally, but it's what I had, so I used it. And I think I'm probably going to skip a little bit of this part of the video because it's kind of boring. So that was about maybe 1/3 of that bag that I just put through there. And what I want you to see is why I'm doing this screening. So you can see here, those are all the chunks that I screened out. I don't like any any chunks of my microgreen soil. If you're spreading light seeds, it can be hard if seeds land directly on these chunks, it can be hard for the seed to really germinate on that. They also tend to be spots for mold to grow, or I'm not even sure what these pieces are. They look maybe like really compressed bits of cocoa core or something. There's also chunks of wood in there. It's just not what I want in my soil. I like my soil to be really fluffy all the way through. No real chunks of anything in there. So let's dump in some of this cocoa core. Hopefully this goes through the screen all right. I've never bought this before, so we'll see. The plan here is to dump a little bit from each bag at a time to kind of layer it, and then I'll mix it all up by hand afterwards. But if I layer it, it kind of makes it just that much easier to mix it up. You know what? This stuff, I don't think I'm going to screen it. I'm going to screen this just because I put it in here, but this is super fine. It's really fluffy, and there's really no need to screen this stuff. But you don't know until you try, right? So, just rub this all through. So what I ended up doing was actually just dumping some of that cocoa core into my bin and not screening it, because it didn't need to be screened, and that's more work for me that I don't really want to have to do. The black gold, though, I'll continue to screen that. Alright, everything's all in the bin. Let me show you what I ended up with that I screened out of this. Light's kind of bad, but that's what I screened out of this that I did not want in my microgreen soil. And that's more than is acceptable for me. And so I probably won't go with the black gold again. It's not a knock on the soil at all. I mean, I've used it before. It's a good soil. I used it before I was sifting too. And it's just other soils don't contain that much hard media. And for a potting soil or something, I'm sure it's fine. But for what I'm doing with microgreens, it's just more than I want to have to deal with. So now I've got my bin. Those 2 bags were about all my bin here could handle. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to try to mix it up. I can tell you that I'm already very happy with the cocoa core. I know people grow in just straight cocoa core on a regular basis, and I just wanted a little bit of soil in it though, and this stuff is super fine, really fluffy the way I want it to be. I think cocoa core and I are going to become pretty good friends. You know, Corey, it's meant to be. A little bit pricey, but like I said, I can probably get it cheaper than that, than what I paid. And my friends down at the hydroponics store, they can get it for me cheaper too if I want to buy it in bulk, which I may go that route. So this is what the soil looks like. It's at least 50% cocoa core. We see it's super fluffy, nice and fine. There's no chunks in here, no globs of anything. Got nice dirty hands. Yeah, so I think you guys just get a soil with perlite in it. Get something that's you know, mostly organic, and don't have you know, I'm not crazy about Miracle Grow, but I have used it in a pinch. But try not to overthink it. You know, try out some different soils that you think you might like, and go from there. See how I've already got your attention, if you haven't already left the video. I received some new seeds today that I'm kind of excited to do test runs with and show you what those are. They're from Mountain Valley Seed Company, which is a company I use for all my seeds. One thing I want to point out though that they just did that wasn't like this before is it was free shipping on orders of $35 or more, and just recently they upped that to $45 or more. And so I had just over $35 worth. I was trying to just get a small order, went to order it, realized shipping wasn't free, went back to the home page, saw they had changed that to $45, and because of that I had to up my order because I don't pay shipping. I don't like to pay shipping unless I have to. So I got this just 1 ounce of this purple oric. I think I was saying that right. It's you can grow it as a microgreen, or you can grow it as almost like a salad leaf, and it's supposed to taste a lot like spinach, but it's a very bright purple, red, beautiful green. And it was expensive though. Like 1 ounce of seed was $7.50, if I'm remembering that correctly. And so I figured, hey, I'll try it. I think this feels like, it feels like a really fine seed. I haven't opened it up yet. Let's open it. Let's see. Let's see what's in here. Gotta know. I was guessing based on what it feels like, I could probably get maybe 3 trays out of it, because I think I'm going to spread it fairly thin. Oh yeah, so it looks nothing like I thought. But, let's see if I can get some of that out for you to see. See that? So I still think I can get probably about 3 trays. And if I'm also thinking about planting some trays that are going to grow to a baby stage. And so those I'll probably end up getting like 4 or 5 trays out of this, because I'll plant some that are just microgreens, and then I'll plant some that are very, lightly seeded so that they have room to get bigger. And that's one of those seeds, if you're trying to do the baby thing, where you do want a little bit of nutrients in your soil. So I don't know, this might not be ideal for that, but I can always add some nutrients to my water when I water it. What else do we have? A pound of spicy oriental mustard. Now this was suggested to me from one of you YouTubers because I was using the wasabi, because it was requested, and that was pretty expensive. And I wish I knew off the top of my head how much this costs, but it was absolutely dirt cheap. It's so cheap to buy a pound of this that, looking at the website, it looks like they're making a mistake. Like, it's supposed to be more money than this. And the person that suggested it to me said it looks and tastes almost just like the wasabi. And so I'm going to give that a try. If that works out, I'll buy a whole lot more of it. Hopefully it's not a mistake and that the price skyrockets, but it was cheap. I should probably look that up to tell you how much it was. Maybe I'll do that. I'll look that up. I'll put that on the screen for you to see before I post this. Here's some red garnet mustard. And I saw somebody on Facebook a while back had some of this, and I thought it was a beautiful green. A little bit more expensive. It's not something I would sell for my normal price. I'd charge more for it, or I'd put it in a nice mix that's like a gourmet or ultra gourmet, because all my mixes are gourmet. Maybe an ultra gourmet mix of this and some maybe some chard and some beets and other things that are like more of a upscale microgreen. Make a mix out of that. Here I have something I want to try out. Beets. This is Detroit Dark Red. It's less expensive than Bull's Blood, but it's also, I don't think, is brilliant red as Bull's Blood. I think it's going to look probably more similar to my Ruby Red Shard, but I wanted to try it. It was a fair amount cheaper than the Bull's Blood seed, and I figured why not. This whole order was like a test order to try some things out. So if anyone's interested in seeing some of this stuff as I plant it and as I grow it, let me know. You know, leave a comment, and I'll be sure to share that. So, with that, that's the end of this video. Told you a little bit about soil, showed you some of my new seeds, and please, if you haven't already subscribed, like my video, subscribe to this channel, and I'll keep showing you more videos like this. Alright? Have a nice night. I'm getting ready to watch the Patriots in the playoffs. Hopefully that goes well. We'll see. And have a nice weekend, everybody. Thanks.